Hey, my laser loving friends. Welcome to Laser Secrets, the podcast that's all about giving you the knowledge, confidence, and the skills you need to be the best aesthetic laser practitioner possible. I'm your host, Jamie. I'm a laser obsessed med spa owner, medical esthetician, laser specialist, and passionate educator in the world of medical aesthetics. And let me tell you, today's episode is a must listen because we're talking Laser 101, the science behind the beam. If lasers have you feeling a bit overwhelmed, if terms like wavelength, pulse duration, chromophore, and some others make your head spin or make you nervous, don't worry. By the end of the episode, we're going to understand how lasers work in a way that makes sense so you can walk into every treatment room with absolute confidence. So grab a cup of coffee, your notebook maybe, or even just a cozy spot to listen, and let's dive in. Let's start with the absolute basics. What even is a laser? Fun fact, the word laser actually stands for light amplification stimulated emission of radiation. Sounds intense, right? But at its core, a laser is just a highly focused beam of light that is specifically designed to interact with certain things in the skin. Think of it this way. Imagine a flashlight. When you turn it on, the light spreads everywhere, illuminating a whole room. But a laser is like a laser pointer. Super precise, powerful, and able to focus on one specific thing at a time. Unlike natural sunlight or light bulbs, laser light is different in three important ways. For one, it's monochromatic. It means it's one color or scientifically one wavelength of light. This is why different lasers do different things. Two, it's coherent. The light waves are all moving in the same direction like a team of synchronized swimmers instead of a chaotic wave pool. Three, it's collimated. The beam stays tightly focused instead of spreading out like a flashlight. Because of these properties, lasers allow us to target specific structures in the skin with incredible precision, whether that's hair follicles, blood vessels, pigment, collagen. Let's talk a little further into how these lasers work. Now that we know what a laser is and what it stands for, every laser is designed to target a chromophore, which is a fancy word for the thing in the skin that absorbs energy and everything that we work with in our practices. To make things super simple, think about sunscreen. When you wear sunscreen, it absorbs UV light, keeping it from penetrating in your skin. The same way, chromophores in the skin absorb specific laser wavelengths. Here are three main chromophores we work with pretty much every day in aesthetics. The first one is melanin. This is pigment absorption. This is found in hair follicles, freckles, age spots. When lasers target melanin, we can remove hair, we can break up pigmentation, we can treat tattoos. The next super common chromophore is hemoglobin. This is blood absorption. This is found in blood vessels. Lasers that target hemoglobin are used to reduce redness, like rosacea treatments, treat spider veins, and help to erase broken capillaries. Next is water. This is your resurfacing and tightening. The skin is mostly water, so when lasers that target water are used, they actually heat up tissue to resurface, tighten, or stimulate collagen production. Think of chromophores like different colored t-shirts on a hot summer day. If you wear a black t-shirt, it absorbs all the sunlight and makes you a bit warmer, like melanin absorbing laser energy. But if you wear a white t-shirt, it reflects the light and keeps you cool. The same principle applies when choosing the right laser for the right target. You need the right wavelength to match the chromophore. And this is another reason why we cannot effectively treat lighter colored hair with a laser, because it truly is like wearing that white t-shirt and not absorbing that heat or the energy from the sun. Same thing with the laser. So let's get into wavelengths and why they matter. Every laser operates at a specific wavelength, which is measured in nanometers. Think of a wavelength like radio stations. You have to tune into the right frequency to get the music, or in this case, the right laser effect. Here's a simple cheat sheet for some common laser wavelengths. The first is alexandrite. We love our alexandrite laser at my practice. This is a 755 nanometer. This loves melanin. It's best for laser hair removal and pigmentation treatments. A diode laser is an 810 to 940 nanometer. It also loves melanin and can go a little deeper. It's great for hair removal on a range of skin tones. The Nd:YAG, or the 1064 nanometer, this is like our workhorse wavelength. It's the deepest penetration. It's awesome for vascular lesions, deep pigmentation. It's safe for hair removal on all skin tones. Also, you can do really cool treatments if you're using a long pulse, like a laser genesis treatment, to help break down any redness. Cuperose skin helps to tighten the skin as well. Next up, a CO2 or erbium. These are the 10,600 nanometer and the 2940 nanometer. These absorb water. It's great for skin resurfacing and collagen remodeling. And in future episodes, we'll dig into more laser wavelengths because there are a lot and a lot of different things you can do. So if you've ever wondered why some lasers don't work on certain concerns, it's probably because the wavelength doesn't match the target. I do recommend downloading and printing off a light spectrum wavelength chart. That way you can really match the laser to what you're trying to affect. Now let's get into pulse duration and fluence. So these are super important settings to determine, are we going to get the effect we want to get? First of all, pulse duration. This is the speed of the laser pulse. Shorter pulses equal better for breaking up pigment, like tattoo removal. These lasers would be in the Q switch range and the pico type of lasers. And that would be the short pulse or photoacoustic lasers. So like I said, this is better for breaking up pigment. Tattoo removal, you definitely need to use either a pico or a Q switch laser. For long pulse lasers, and you can have different nanometers in both. Think of heating and destroying hair follicles. So you would use, for hair removal, a long pulse laser. To reiterate, pulse duration is the speed of laser pulse. Fluence, or energy output, is the power behind the laser. So if it's too low, you won't see results. If it's too high, you risk burning the skin around the target. The trick is finding the lowest effective fluence for safe and effective treatments. And what I mean by that is I call it like safely aggressive. So it's taking that client to that threshold where you're getting the result, but not over treating them. In laser, I always tell all of our team members, all of our laser specialists, you can't unring a bell. So you want to be cautious, but aggressive enough to be getting the effect. And again, we'll dig way into this in future episodes. So think of pulse duration like baking cookies. A hot oven for a short time equals crispy outside, gooey inside, like short pulses for pigment. A low oven temperature for a longer time gets evenly baked cookies, like long pulses for hair removal. Let's talk next about tips to boost your confidence as a laser practitioner. So these are what I teach my team as well, so they can be the most confident and we can get the best results. For one, never ever stop learning. The best practitioners stay curious and keep up with technology, keep up with journals out there. I absolutely love Dermalays and what they are doing. I actually had the pleasure of training with them in Scotland. This is advanced training. They put out an awesome podcast called Lasers and Skin. They also have a great Instagram page as well. Definitely check them out. And there's others too, but just stay on top of new research. Understanding the science is a biggie too. When you know why a laser works and how to understand the physics behind it, adjusting settings becomes second nature. And really, my goal for you with the consulting I do and even this podcast is for you to understand the physics a little deeper. And you should be able to go to pretty much any laser. And as long as it's calibrated properly, you should know how to adjust and make changes to get the safest and most effective results for your clients. Next, knowing your client's skin type. Always assess your client's skin tone at the time of treatment. I treat based on what they're exhibiting at the time. The Fitzpatrick scale is a biggie that we're taught on, but really go by what they're exhibiting at the time of treatment. This has been my training in the advanced training I've done with dermalays. And once I started adjusting that way, I get awesome results because even if someone is a Fitz 4, if they are super pale at the time, you don't necessarily have to just treat them as a Fitz 4. You could maybe bump your energy just a smidge. But again, this is you learning and being more confident with your equipment and that continuing education. Next, my tip for you is to start conservatively. You can always increase power, but you can't unring that bell. You can't undo a burns. Making sure you're doing test pulses. If you're somewhere that you are required to do some test spots a few days before the actual treatment, definitely follow the regulations in your area. And next, practice. Treat each other in the office and experiment with settings. We do that all the time at my practice. We will, based on new research coming out, we'll try it on ourselves and go from there. But don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. But I do recommend on yourself first. And always wear your safety protection on your eyes. Your client should be as well. I'm still, unfortunately, seeing things on Instagram. Sometimes laser treatments happening with no glasses. So safety is always first. All right, laser lovers, that's a wrap on today's quick episode on Laser 101. I hope you're walking away with a bit more of an understanding of laser fundamentals, or maybe your interest is just piqued to follow along in my next podcast episodes. Laser is so magical in our practice, but your confidence makes all the difference. Your confidence, your knowledge, and being able to deliver on those safe results for our clients is key. And that is what I want for you. So if you love this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow aesthetic pros. And if you have questions, suggestions, or are interested in working with me directly, I'd love a DM on Instagram at my page, Laser Secrets Consulting. Until next time, stay confident and curious, and here's to having the best results ever.